Hey, good afternoon. I'm Brian Manning. How are you? TikTok, good to see you. YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, good afternoon. Hey, we already got hello, good afternoon from Texas, says Velvet Versa. Did you do a consultation yet, Velvet Versa? I hope so. I've seen you. We've been talking on here, and it's time for you to do that consultation. If you haven't talked to my team yet, I want you to do that now. We want to talk with you, Velvet. All right. Hello. I'm Brian Manning, and I'm an asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. Why do we name it that? Because that's what we do. That's who we are, and that's what we do, is help people secure their future in America through asylum. I'm not just an immigration lawyer. I don't call myself an immigration lawyer. I don't hold myself out as an immigration lawyer. I'm an asylum lawyer. And my law firm, we only do asylum. That's what we focus on every day, all day. And we help people all over the country with asylum, both at USCIS at the Asylum Office and also in immigration court. We help people who have not yet applied. We help people who have already applied. Doesn't matter where you are, where you're living in the country, or where your case is at in terms of the location or the procedural posture. We might be able to help you. So you should call us. Actually, better still, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. Winasylum.com is where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with my team. All right. I'm going to answer your questions about asylum. So leave them in the comments. But before you leave your questions, say hello. Let's say, are you Saul Goodman? It says SLO on TikTok. Say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to hear where you guys are at, where you're joining us from today for this Asylum Answers show, where I'm going to answer your questions. So my law firm is based in Houston, Texas, but we help people all over the country. Doesn't matter where you live. All right. We had a nice asylum approval today in my law firm. Another life changed, someone's future secured in America for them and their family. So that's our good news today. But I want to talk about something less pleasant before we get to your questions. And that less pleasant thing surrounding asylum and immigration generally is Donald Trump's comments in last week's debate about immigrants. So kind of out of nowhere, he says that immigrants are eating cats and dogs, or eating pets in Ohio. And he was specifically talking about Haitian immigrants from Haiti. And it turns out this has been totally debunked, okay? The police in this town in Springfield, Ohio have had no reports of any such complaints. The city administrator or something like that, some city official has weighed in that would probably possibly be in a position to know about any complaints, has weighed in. The people, there's no credible allegations of that happening in Springfield, okay, in Ohio. And really, what this is this is a new spin on an old method that people have used for years to disparage and demonize immigrants. And this was things like, oh, they're eating dogs or eating pets, was applied to the Chinese many years ago, and it's been applied to other groups as well in U.S. history. So it's nothing new. It's been proved to be a pretty effective thing to get people scared and to get people to be angry about immigrants, which Donald Trump views as in his favor. He wants to create fear and animosity because he thinks that will help him get elected, because fear motivates people. And immigrants are, for a lot of people, an easy scapegoat. It's easy to say, oh, the problems that you're facing are because of the immigrants. They're the people that are stealing your jobs. They're the people that are putting you at danger, and you're at risk. Your pets are even at risk of being eaten. But vote for me and I'll take care of that, is basically what he's saying. So I think it's garbage. There's absolutely no evidence to support the proposition that Haitian immigrants are eating pets in Ohio or anywhere else. So stand strong for my Haitian friends out there. We have Haitian clients. I'm sorry that this is happening to you, that you're having to deal with this, because it's having real life effects, right? It's not just words. After Trump made those comments, in the days thereafter, there were like bomb threats to like the schools in the area, and other institutions, government facilities that had to close down because of this. Those things would not have happened if the former president and one of the presidential candidates in the current election hadn't gone on TV and said those things to millions of people. So it's unfortunate. I'm really sorry that you're in this position, to all my Haitian colleagues and friends and the Haitian community. That's what I wanted to say, and not a terribly fun, exciting topic, but I wanted to comment on it. We've got over on YouTube, we've got Juan Diego says hello. Nice. This is some good news. He says, I was approved for my green card based on asylum yesterday after 9 years after arriving to the United States. Congratulations, Juan Diego. That's great news. I'm really glad to hear that for you. Congratulations. That's a huge step toward the most stable and most beneficial kind of status, which is U.S. citizenship. So congratulations. That's awesome. We've got Lucy from Canada. Hello, Lucy. Thanks for joining us. Kamala Sujani says, hi, sir, on YouTube. We've got A881. I'm going to get to your question in just 1 second. Fabricio Amador. And we've got Phoenix saying, I'll get to your question too, Phoenix. Badru is joining us. My friend Badru from Massachusetts. Sarah is asking about the interview times. Yeah, I'm going to address interview times. Okay. Oh, Velvet, that's a good question. What makes a case weak or strong? I'll address that too. All right. Let me know. Yeah, leave your comments, leave your questions, and I want to address them. Let's see who we got on TikTok. Hey guys, on TikTok. Hello. KB, how are you? Thank you for being here. All right. Let's start getting to the questions then. Lots of questions. So the first thing I want to address is, so A881 on YouTube is asking, good afternoon, Brian. I'm going toward my second year this December since I applied for asylum. Can I do the Mandamus lawsuit anytime soon before November? Okay, I'm gonna answer your question like this. So the question is this: how long should you wait before you file a Mandamus lawsuit to force the asylum office to give you your asylum interview? So we're talking about the Mandamus lawsuit. This is an incredibly powerful tool to force the government to give you your interview and your decision where your case has been delayed. Now the question then is, what counts as a delay, or at least an unreasonable delay such that you have a decent chance for success in bringing this lawsuit? So listen, 3 years. That's what we're saying right now. This can change depending on government policies, but right now, based on having filed a bunch of these lawsuits in the last couple of years and having had a lot of success, overwhelming success, I think 3 years is the minimum that you need to have waited after having applied for asylum before filing your Mandamus lawsuit. Except for, listen, with the Los Angeles Asylum Office right now, we're saying 5 years. 5 years with Los Angeles. All the other asylum offices, 3 years. All right? Hope that helps. Listen, if you don't know what the Mandamus lawsuit is, it's you're asking a federal judge to tell the asylum office to do its job, to give you your interview and your decision. And, there's this question. Actually, that reminds me, there's this question. And the question is this: will suing the government in a Mandamus lawsuit to force them to give you your asylum interview, will that actually hurt your chances of winning your underlying asylum case? Now, listen, this is completely reasonable. I can totally understand why people think this. In fact, it comes up all the time when I talk with people about possibly suing to assert their rights, to force their interview and their decision. The answer is no. It's not going to hurt your case. I am extremely confident. In fact, I don't worry about this at all for our clients. I don't worry about any negative impact on their underlying asylum case. There's 3 reasons. First, the asylum officer who actually does your interview and makes the decision might not even know that you've sued. When I was an asylum officer with the government, we didn't even know that someone had sued. That information just didn't go into the asylum file. Second, even if they know, I don't think they're going to care. It's not a big deal. In the United States, we sue all the time. We're a litigious society. For us, not a big deal. Third, they can't use it against you. It cannot be used as a negative factor in the analysis to justify a negative decision. Okay? So those are pretty good reasons, I think. And that's what we're seeing on the ground in reality. We've filed a bunch of these Mandamus lawsuits recently, and we're not having like a higher denial rate in those cases. If anything, it's probably a higher approval rate, to be honest with you, than like the norm, than cases that get their interview and decision without having to sue. So yeah, I am highly confident that suing the government to force them to give you your interview will not hurt your underlying asylum case. All right. All right. Fabricio asks, how long is it taking for USCIS to schedule interviews in San Francisco? And then there was a similar question from someone else. Do you think, it was Sarah that said, do you think the processing time is faster now? I did my fingerprints 5 months ago. When do you think I'll get my interview? So basically, questions about the timing, right? So, I mean, really at heart, the question is this. How long is it taking to get an affirmative asylum interview with USCIS these days after you've applied? So listen, you need to go into this process prepared for anything. Psychologically, you got to be ready for the fact that it might be a long time. It might be several months. It could be many months. It could even be years. You have to be prepared for that. However, it actually could also be really, really quick. It's kind of a long story, but the important part is that lately we have been seeing people get their interview very quickly, like a month sometimes after applying for asylum. This is because there are fewer people coming to the U.S. southern border, which frees up asylum officers to do asylum interviews instead of doing telephonic credible fear interviews with people at the border. That's due to Biden's asylum ban, basically, for people coming to the border. So there's no way to predict this with confidence. Could be soon, could be a while, but you got to be ready in case it is very soon, okay? In terms of, different locations, it's impossible to predict, how long it might be at a specific location, a specific asylum office like San Francisco, or how long one location might be compared to another, like which one's longer, which one is a shorter wait time. There are many, many, many factors that go into scheduling of asylum interviews, such that you can never predict that with any kind of confidence. Okay. These policies change all the time. All right. Phoenix on YouTube says, could there be an interview exemption? Good question. So the question is this: is it possible to get a waiver or an exemption so that you don't have to actually do your asylum interview? Can USCIS just make a decision based on your application materials and any written materials additionally that you submit? The answer is no. There are no interview waivers or special exemptions. Everyone has to do the asylum interview, and the asylum interview is in person. Now, your lawyer actually can participate virtually, but you as the applicant and any family members that are included as dependents in your case, you have to show up at the asylum office in person. Now, in immigration court, you may hear people saying oh, my asylum process is by video conference. That's in immigration court. Some immigration judges do allow or even dictate that certain hearings be done by video conference, but the asylum office, nope. You're going to be in person at an asylum office. Okay. All right. So Sarah, you said you think the processing time is faster. You said you did your fingerprints 5 months ago. I mean, I really am, as I said a second ago, I really am hopeful that a lot of people who are applying right now will get their interviews very quickly. And we've been seeing it with our clients and with other people that some people are getting their interviews basically right away, within a month sometimes, 1 to 3 months after having applied, because of this Biden's new policies that have been a major contributing factor to fewer people coming to the southern border. And you see asylum officers are supposed to prioritize, not supposed to, they have to, by internal policy, they have to prioritize credible fear interviews over asylum interviews. So when there's a bunch of people at the southern border, USCIS has to pull asylum officers away from asylum interviews and put them on credible fear interviews all day, doing telephone calls with people at the border or that are detained after coming to the border. And that's what builds a huge backlog. But at any given time, if there's not a lot of people coming to the border, like right now, then more asylum officers are open to do the interviews. And they will schedule people that apply for asylum, let's say today. Today we filed 4 asylum applications at my law firm today. Those people, they might get their interview next month. Despite that, there are people that are still waiting many months and even many years. So it's a weird system, but you got to be ready for anything. All right. All right, Daro Babs on YouTube says, hey, I finally got my master hearing after 3 years. I came out of detention with a positive credible fear interview screening. Does it help my final hearing decision-making by the judge? Good question. So the question is this: will the fact that you received a positive credible fear determination help you to actually win your asylum case in immigration court? Not really. It's kind of like a necessary thing, but it's not really going to help push you far towards an approval. It's necessary to even be able to apply for asylum, because if you had gotten a negative credible fear determination, you and from an asylum officer, and the immigration judge upheld that, you could have been deported pretty much immediately or very shortly, and you would not have gotten to apply for asylum in normal immigration court proceedings. You have to get the positive to sort of get out of what they call the expedited removal process and get into normal court proceedings. So anyone that's in normal court proceedings, many people in court proceedings have gotten a positive credible fear, and many of them still lose their asylum case. So no, it doesn't help that much. You still got to fully fight and prepare your case and be ready to do a great job. Okay? And that's what we help people with every single day. Listen, if you want to talk with our team to tell us what's going on and, with your situation, and have us see whether we think that we're in a position to help you, then you should go and schedule a consultation right now. You can do that at winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session. This is a consultation with one of our asylum professionals where we're going to analyze your situation and tell you what we think, tell you whether we think we can help you. And if so, we're going to lay out for you exactly what the steps would be. And I emphasize this because most lawyers won't do that. When you call most lawyers, they'll be like, yeah, I'll help you. Don't worry about it. And you're like, how? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just put together a good case for you. That's because they don't have a strategy. They don't have an actual strategic approach to how to build the strongest case possible. We do every single case. We develop what's called an asylum action plan. It consists of 3 distinct parts. Kind of depends on what those 3 parts are, depend on where your case is, whether it's an immigration court or USCIS, and whether you've already applied for asylum when you come to us or not. But we're going to come up with an actual plan, and we're going to tell you during your consultation with us what we think that plan will be. It could change, once our lawyers get really familiar with your case, but generally speaking, you're going to know at your consultation what we think we can do to help you present the strongest case possible to help you secure your future in America through asylum. All right. Let us go. Huds Wallace says, if I win a Mandamus, can the asylum interviews be scheduled as soon as before the elections? Good question. The question is it too late to get your asylum interview before the presidential elections if you file a Mandamus lawsuit right now? The answer is maybe. So it's September 17th. The elections are in early November. On average, we see probably more like 3.5 months is what it takes from the time that we file the lawsuit to the time that our client has the interview. We've had cases where it's taken longer. For example, in California, the average is longer. The average is more like 6 to 9 months in California, unfortunately, which I know sounds like a lot, but it's better than not suing. If you don't sue, it's probably going to be multiple years. But most cases, no, it's more like 3 to 4. So probably not before the election, but almost certainly a very good chance of before the inauguration, when the new president actually takes office. Okay, and that's what matters the most. All right, because a new president, if Trump wins, the policies aren't going to change until at least January, when Trump comes into office. So that's something important to keep in mind. All right, so you've got a few months to file this Mandamus lawsuit and hopefully get your interview before January. When's the inauguration? Is it always January 6th? I can't remember how that works. It's in January. I can't remember what date, but there's still time to do that if you act now. If you hire us tomorrow, schedule your consultation right now, literally right now. Go to winasylum.com, please. Go to winasylum.com, schedule your consultation. I think there's some availability still this week if you act now. And you hire us in the next couple of days here, and we'll get started. And I think we're going to give you a decent chance to get your interview and your decision before January. All right. So you should do that now, Huds. All right. All right. Let's see. Are there more approval rates in LA than are there higher approval rates in a place like Los Angeles than a place like Maryland? So, good question. So, the question is, are asylum approval rates going to be higher over in California than, say, Maryland? Well, if we're talking about affirmative asylum, then with USCIS in California, you've got two asylum offices, Los Angeles and San Francisco. San Francisco historically, usually almost every year has the highest approval rate, or one of the top two, or for sure three highest approval rates in the country every year. San Francisco. LA is always very high as well. It's always in the top 4 or 5 for sure. So those are high approval rates. Maryland, you're going to be with the Arlington Asylum Office in Arlington, Virginia, which is near Washington, D.C. And it's kind of in the middle. It's not as high normally as Los Angeles and San Francisco, but it's pretty good. It's way better than in the South. It's way better than Houston and Miami. So yeah, keep that in mind. All right. That's how that works. All right. Let's go to TikTok. What's going on? TikTok. So if your advance parole is granted based on asylum pending, you can travel and return with no issue. Is that a question? Percy Euro 21 on TikTok. I'll take it as a question. So the question is this. Let's say you want to travel outside of the United States while your asylum case is pending with the government. So you apply for it and you get what's called an advance parole document. Does that mean that you can travel abroad and get back into the United States when you're done with no problems? Is it risk-free? So it's low risk. It's very low risk, right? First of all, remember, you can't do this if your case is in immigration court. You can only do this if your asylum case is pending with USCIS, with the Asylum Office. But as long as you get this advance parole document that's based on your pending asylum case, not based on something else, then yeah, you can travel abroad and come back and do this with high confidence that you're not going to have any trouble getting back in. There's always a tiny bit of risk. You could have trouble at the airport, but as long as you don't go back to your home country, as long as you don't have some kind of criminal record, chances for problems are very low. They're so low such that, I would do it if I were in your shoes and I had a good reason to travel. Just don't go for long, not more than like 2 weeks. Okay. Shaka says, can you file mandamus of asylum-based green card if it's been pending for a year? No, because for asylum, they don't post average case processing times. For green cards, including based on asylum, they do. And I looked the other day, and I think the median or the average was like 22 months. So that if you sue before those 22 months, the judge will just be like, that's normal. Like, I can't help you. Wait 22 months and then come back. So I would say for those, to have a good chance for success, you probably do need to wait until beyond what is the average processing time. All right. Rosh says donations link. Donations for what? Who are you soliciting donations for, Rosh? All right. All right. Let's see. What challenges would asylees face if Trump wins? All right. Let's do this. Let's address this question like this. So the question is, what challenges would asylum seekers and people with asylum face if Donald Trump wins the presidency? So listen, I do think it's going to be harder to win asylum. There's going to be a general anti-immigrant atmosphere that is even more pervasive than it already is at USCIS. There are going to definitely be actual formal policies and rule changes that will make it harder for people to get asylum, especially people that come to the U.S. southern border. So yeah, I do think approval rates will drop significantly. I also think that people that have asylum are going to have a harder time getting their green card based on their asylee status. It's already a challenge. USCIS, even under Biden and under Obama, strips people's asylum status pretty frequently when they apply for their green card. They go through and they find things like, oh, this looks like an inconsistency or a lie. You lied to get asylum, so we're going to take it all away and put you in deportation proceedings. So that'll probably happen even more under a second Trump administration. So that's what I think. Yep. That's what I think. So yeah, listen, apply now. If you're thinking of applying for asylum, apply now, before Trump could possibly be in office. If you've got a case pending and your asylum interview has been pending, or you're waiting for a decision, but you've applied for asylum 3 or more years ago, or at least 3 years ago, and your case is still open with USCIS, you should think about suing the government right now to force them to give you your interview and or your decision. All right. All right. Waris Durrani says, can a federal high-ranking employee help you getting your interview date faster? My friend is working in the White House, but he doesn't know who to email or contact and endorse me. Interesting question. I've never gotten that one before. Let's do this. The question is this. Will having a well-placed contact in the U.S. government help you to get your asylum interview faster? So this person says, hey, I got a friend who works at the White House. Can they do something, write a letter, send an email, make a call to sort of move things along faster in my case? No, I don't think it's going to help you at all. I don't think it's going to help you at all. This stuff is pretty objective. Like the USCIS does not do favors for people in terms of moving their interview date around based on sort of who they know, even if it's someone who's, important in the U.S. or works at the White House or is famous. I don't think that will help you to get your interview faster. Now, if this person has personal knowledge about your asylum case, about you being harmed or threatened or otherwise anything about why you qualify for asylum, then yeah, they should write a witness letter. And the fact that they're at the White House, that might be a little bit impressive and make the officer think, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, I probably should trust them. There's no formal bump or help that you get, but just psychologically, if it's coming from someone in the White House, it could help a little bit. All right. That's awesome. Rosh said donation link ? And I was like, for what, Rosh? And he said, for you, meaning for me, I won asylum based on your videos. Very kind. Thank you, Rosh. You don't need to, thank you for mentioning it. Congratulations on winning asylum. And I love hearing that our videos on this channel helped you. By the way, TikTok, my best stuff is on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search political asylum lawyers. Go to YouTube and search political asylum lawyers. That's where all my best stuff is. All right. Very kind of you, Rosh, to say that you want asylum things based on our videos. You don't need to donate to us. I'm glad to help. I'm glad that those resources are there. It's a completely free resource. Go to YouTube and go to like the playlist tab. And one of the playlists is called something like full length asylum trainings. And there's some super detailed trainings and tutorials on there about all kinds of things, like how to fill out the application form, all kinds of things, how to prepare for the interview, how to do your like a supplemental filing, all kinds of things. All right. Thank you, Rosh, for saying that. Listen, Rosh, if you want to really say thank you in a way that is meaningful and helpful to me, go to give us a Google review. Give us a 5 if you think it's worth it. If you think we've earned it, give us a 5-star Google review, and that is how you can say thank you. That's better than a donation. So, okay. I'm gonna try and get this. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So if you want to go leave a Google review, you can do that. All right. So listen, the next, I'm going to put this in the chat. All right, guys. I'm going to say this, find our content helpful, leave a Google review. Dang it. I pasted it with that. Where'd the link go? Oh, I got to paste it in like this. There we go. Boom. Rosh, leave a Google review if you want. If you want to say thanks. Appreciate that. Thank you for commenting on here to say it. Is it true? Phoenix says, is it true that the asylum rates are only 20%? So let's see. The question is this. Is it true that the asylum approval rates are only like 20%? So listen, they're a tiny bit higher than that. According to the most recent statistics that have been publicly released, which are like a couple years old, and the government is terrible about providing these statistics, but at the USCIS asylum offices, at the nationally, the average was, I think, either 23 or 24%, if I'm not mistaken. It's somewhere around there. So I'm pretty sure it's a little higher than 20, but not much. It's a little bit higher in immigration court, which is actually interesting because historically it used to be the other way around. It used to be that the asylum offices had higher approval rates than immigration court, but that changed such that now courts have higher approval rates than the asylum office. But the good news is if you get referred from the asylum office to court, well, you have another chance, and you might have a better chance with higher approval rates there. So keep that in mind. All right. I am here says, when can we know our asylum interview date? I mean, how many days of advance notice for our asylum interview do we get from USCIS? Good question. The question is this: how much advance notice do you get before the day of your asylum interview with USCIS? So you get a letter in the mail. It's called an appointment notice. That says, hey, your interview has been scheduled for X date at X location, X time. And you're supposed to get that at least 2 weeks, at least like 14 days before the date of the interview. But that doesn't happen often. Often you get it like maybe 9 or 10 days before. So week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at the best, usually, that you're going to have from the time that you get that interview notice to the day of the interview. And you need to spring into action when you get that. There's a lot that you need to do. You need to arrange logistics for that interview, for getting to and doing the interview. You need to prepare substantively, significantly. You need to start studying. Go to political asylum. Go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers, and look at my playlist. I've got a lot of playlists, or a lot of videos about what to do to prepare for your asylum interview, including what happens like after you get the interview notice, exactly, concretely, what steps you need to take to prepare. All right. Diakite Aliu, sorry for the mispronunciation, says, thank you for everything for the great job. My pleasure. Thanks for commenting. That's very, very kind of you. Easy Newmon says, my final asylum hearing is in December, but I don't have enough evidence, but I'm married to a U.S. citizen. What's my best option? That I'm married. Listen, the question is this. Let's say your asylum case might not be all that strong, and you've got an immigration court hearing, the final one, the individual hearing coming up. What should you do if you're married to a U.S. citizen? So listen, first of all, you need to talk to an asylum lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, you should hire an asylum lawyer to advise you on this. You might want to seek to try to have the case dismissed so that you can then go apply for the green card, the marriage-based green card, before USCIS. But listen, this is tricky. This stuff is complicated. I can't just tell you on this live exactly what you should do in your situation. In fact, I wouldn't even do that anyway with regard to the marriage-based case, because I'm not a marriage-based immigration lawyer. I focus on asylum. But listen, I'm going to help get to know enough about your case and help advise you and connect you with a family lawyer, or an immigration lawyer who does family law, family-based immigration, and we're going to decide what the best course of action is for you. Okay. But yeah, if you feel like your case is really weak, then yeah, maybe it is the best is to get it dismissed and just apply for the green card. If you feel like your case is strong, or maybe you think it's weak, but your asylum lawyer is like, oh no, actually you have a really good case, then maybe it makes sense to fight it. It kind of depends on, what your objectives are and what your priorities are, what your risk tolerance level is like. These are all, it's tricky. Deciding how to approach a case is complicated. All right. Sarah says, agreed with Roach. Your videos helped me a lot with my personal statement. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ryan. You're welcome, Sarah. So if you go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers, or just on YouTube, you can search for asylum personal statement tutorial, or I think the video is called The Perfect Asylum Declaration. If you search for something like that, you should find, I have a long, like 25-minute long or something tutorial training about how to craft the declaration or the personal statement for your asylum case, which I think is what Sarah is referring to. All right. All right. With that, that's it for today. Kind of a short one today, but I'm still glad to be on here and see everyone. Engage, answer some of your questions. I'm going to be back live in a couple days in English, tomorrow in Spanish. So I hope to see all of you again soon. Think of questions, write them down so you don't forget them, and then be ready to ask me in our next Asylum Answers show. If you want to talk with my team about your case and see if we might be able to help you to secure your future in America through Asylum, then go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. Winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule a free consultation. Right now they're free. We used to charge like almost $200 for these consultations. And in this moment, when I'm making this live video, they're free. So take advantage of this opportunity. Go there now. Schedule now. All right? Winasylum.com. That's it. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok. Have a great evening. And again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's truly an honor to support you in your asylum journey. All right, guys, have a good night.